And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. The Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because things are not great in my head. There are reasons, and I'm sure for a lot of other folks, they've also got problems going on in their own heads, and there are reasons. And the 5-minute freestyle is definitely going to be addressing on part of that, I'm sure. But of course, as always, part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's Shujin. Good to be with you, and to know that my car is actually unstuck from the frozen wasteland that is the snow that... Unfortunately, my car last night did not navigate properly in my driveway. Welcome to Buffalo. Fortunately, I took a little bit of help from across the street neighbors, so all good. So, joining tonight, at the moment, the only co-host that apparently decided, yeah, I'll stay up for you, over on the left coast, I.O. Cloud. Good evening.
Hi.
Yes. So, real quickly, how's the... Well, I was going to say how's the weather, but more appropriately, how's the air quality out there for you now?
Normal smog of the SoCal area. It was our anniversary today. We went out to a movie, and on the way from the tax man to deal with tax issues to the movie, we were almost the middle car in a multi-car.
Almost is better than was.
Yeah. I actually had enough time to realize that I was slipping under the seatbelt to shove myself back into my chair and see if there was anybody behind us. That's how quickly we stopped, but also how much distance we thankfully had.
Sure, we could find you a booster seat at some point.
No,
I'm teasing.
I slumped in the seat and I slid under, so yeah. But we didn't hit. Nobody hit us. Went and saw Captain America, Brave New World. It was okay.
Fair enough. And apparently sliding in under the wire for some stupid reason,
Go Brigid. Go Brigid.
The
Go
bitch
Brigid.
is back. Brigid,
Go Brigid.
What the absolute... Why are you here?
Because I have to give the weather update from my location. It is -3°C. I have no idea what that is, and freedom units are barbarian, but I'm making my contribution and then I'm peacing out. Hi, everybody.
3°C, that's between 32 and 40.
Let me check with National Weather Service because I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's about 35.
It's actually 26 Fahrenheit here, -3 Celsius.
Oh, -3.
-3.
Yeah, I said -3.
I didn't hear a minus.
Neither did I.
Our wind chill is currently -7°C.
So, respectably cold.
Yeah, wind chill is 20 in freedom units. So yeah, it's pretty cold. And we just got finished with a huge snowstorm, and it was just fun.
Fair enough. So
so staff who were trying to get to the hospitals managed to make it, but it was pretty scary for them.
Can't imagine why. So I'm gonna
I haven't a clue. So I'm gonna just drop out of the channel, but I wanted to report my weather here, and I'm out. Thank you. And hi, everybody.
Night, hon. Yes. For the record, Brigid's under the weather. Brigid's sickly, as some might have been able to hear from that. And she was not supposed to be here, but apparently, true to her name, she just decided, of course I'm going to show up briefly because she's trying to get the sympathy points, apparently. You get no sympathy points from me. You are still going to be docked for being here this week. Not being here this week. Whatever the hell it's supposed to be. I don't care. Throw me off my game. Appreciate that. In any case, Brigid will be over there in the live chat for a portion of the show. We'll see how long that lasts, which, yes, by the way, if you do decide that you want to join us as we're recording live, the live chat is free and available for you over there. I know I don't have to say free, but it works. Shut up, leave me alone. I've been dealing with a couple of things myself, and is what it is. So it's all good. The long and short of it is, I had to take off last week because I was not in a good place mentally and emotionally. It sapped my energy. It sapped a lot of my drive. I'm still kind of recovering. Some parts I've been able to do all right and cope with well enough. Others, a little dicey, but I'm going to keep trying because that's what I try. So, we'll get things going. We'll get rolling. We'll see how long we're going to be able to last. I expect I should be able to do the full, but then again, that's only because I had coffee earlier, because that's my primary ingestion. Again, what are you going to do? It's me. So, with 5 minutes on the clock, I'll go ahead and get us started. That starts right now. 14:28. No, that is not a clock that I'm reading off. It's not 2:28, specifically PM. And obviously, it's not a date because it's missing something. Although it could be January 4th, something 28. Certainly possible. It could be an anagram of something. It could be the first letters of something. 1,428 days. That's where we are right now. 1,428 days are left in this presidential regime. Now, I'm not going to call it a term. With everything that's been going on, it's simply incumbent upon us to be the gentle forms of resistance. Now, yes, there are going to be some people who are going to say, well, why gentle resistance? It's simple. Because with something like this, we can afford to be. We can afford to dial it back just a little bit. We don't have to be pounding on people's doors and reminding them, hey, do you know how many days are left? We don't need to do that. We can, however, put it out there. A piece here, a piece there. Digging at people's collective consciousness. And are we going to be setting any records, so to speak, of getting people to come on board for this? The likelihood is exceedingly small. But as of the recording of the show, 1,428 days are left. Now, I considered the idea of putting a time ticker on the video for us so that as we're recording, we can see the time actually decreasing, which, would be very helpful for some people, I'm sure. But I don't intend to be keeping track of it. Not the same way that we did for how long Rafe Badawi was incarcerated. And some of you might remember that, I kept track of that for quite a while. And I stopped because he was out of immediate danger. He's still in danger, no lie, but he's out of immediate danger, and that's good enough. At least it's good enough for right now. It's not great by any stretch. We, however, are existentially in immediate danger, and I don't just mean my countrymen. The world is an unsafe place. The political landscape, courtesy of my country, has been altered in a way that may be irreparable. I certainly hope that it can be fixed. I can't imagine what putting together a new country would be like, or more appropriately, suturing up what we have now. If the federal government level were to break down, we have 50 plus country states that would all be vying for their own protections and interrelations, and who in the hell knows what the hell would happen at that point. Bedlam is probably one of the best words. But for right now, we have a goal. We have to survive through the next 1,428 days. Now, that sounds insufferable. It sounds like it's a really tall order. It is. But the reality is, we can. We will. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna hurt. And there's gonna be so much that we will have to bring about on our own. Put the brakes on. Grab the steering wheel for. But I promise you, I give you my word, we will make it together. We will cross that finish line. And when we're done, we'll take a breath, we'll take a drink together, and then we'll get to the important stuff. Getting everything back to where it should be. And that's probably going to be the longer drive ahead. I know it's not exactly the happiest of openings, but it's truthful. I don't like it any more than anybody else does, but you know, we've got to look. I don't like using the expression we have to keep looking forward, don't look back, but I mean, man, it sucks sometimes. I don't know about you, but I don't like living in interesting times. At least for you guys, when you were up in Canada way, at least, you know, you could suitably rely on certain things going on, or not going wrong, at least. You can chime on that one a little bit. There were certain things, at least, that didn't go horribly. There was bickering, I know. I mean, I caught enough of the stuff from CBC, coming across from Ontario, but
when I was about 23, 24, I was a single parent, and the NDP government decided that they were changing the welfare rules for single parents, and they changed them in the worst way possible. As a single parent on welfare, you could no longer go and get any sort of job training and get a student loan in order to pay for that training. You had to get the full student loan to pay for the training and the money you needed to survive. It used to be that you could get the training and just get enough for the cost of the training and the books, and that was it, because the welfare would make sure that you were fed and clothed and housed. They did that the month after I went on welfare. And I spent a good decade of my life trying to get some sort of training in order to get a decent job. And that same NDP government got flattened by the next regime change to the Liberal government. They went from having majority party down to 2 seats, which was not enough to be considered a member or a political party in British Columbia. Not only that, but the Liberals taunted them and tortured the 2 remaining NDP people. And those 2 were actually really good. The Liberals then decided that they were going to take the disability class, and I had just gotten on disability because of a car accident, take the disability class and force them to go through, instead of a 2 or 3 page examination and questionnaire, 23 pages. And it's still going on from what I understand. There were suicides. So things can go horribly wrong for the supposedly right reasons.
Well, consider me suitably shut up at this point. I guess I'll try to see about looking into stuff a little bit better before I open my mouth on it.
Now, this was something that you would have had to live through in order to remember. I lived through, I remembered, and I actually told the NDP government, or the NDP candidate, the last time I voted in the election, that I remember what you guys did to me. You're not getting my vote.
Fair enough. All right. Let's go ahead and get on a little bit further, because we've got the horrible scopes, because, well, of course we do.
Yep. Yeah, of course we do. Do we have to do them?
No. But we're going to.
Ah.
Horrible scopes time. If you know what your astrological sign is, cool. If you don't, you can make it up as go along. Doesn't really much matter, because the points don't matter. And if you would like to say a thank you to the nice folks over there at Heart of the Game Fredonia for letting me talk about them, please feel free to find them over there on Facebook if you still do a Facebook thing. I know some of us are giving serious consideration to stepping away from that. And I very much would if I could get away from some of the social stuff that I've got over there, but unfortunately I'm kind of the admin for, so there's certain things I just can't just let go away just yet. Remember that Heart of the Game Fredonia, Hail Fredonia, home of the Blue Devil, and a mimic that may or may not be delivered in the mail if you order a D12 for the rolling for an astrological sign. I don't know, but hey, you give your money, it takes your chances. I guess that's kind of the best way to do it.
Don't be a mimic, don't be a mimic, don't be a mimic, don't be.
So these scopes are due to be released just in time for the first week of March, so we're paying very special happy birthday to my computer right over here in the office. Its name is Box. Now, yes, Box's actual birthday is kind of hard to nail down since, it was a pre-built Hewlett-Packard machine sold through Worst Try. And parts of it have been replaced over the years, but it is still chugging along. So with a nod to Markiplier's reliance on the ship of Theseus, let's enjoy some memories from 2013. Aries, you get to start us off by realizing that Box is 12 years old. Not quite untested, but not yet a teenager. There's been some growing pains over the years, but at least it's unlearned many of the things it was taught at birth, like running Windows 8. These days, it's mainly Ubuntu Linux and Windows 10, and with what it's lacking in hardware, that's about as far as Windows is going to progress for it. So this week, for those about to age out of Windows 10's security umbrella, who have no upgrade path beyond it, like I do, now's the time to consider making a Linux bootable thumb drive and testing out everything that you've got. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Might. Ugh. Taurus. From its storage to its brain, Box went from being a 6-core computer to an 8-core, which most folks would say is a great upgrade. But the problem is it was an AMD FX chip. For those not in the know, those chips were, shall we say, inelegant. Think of going to the grocery store, but in a fuel-sucking muscle car instead of a more conservative hybrid. So this week, the best time of year for you is the winter. Your core body temperature is naturally high, so it'll be good for you to cool down naturally. As for the CPU, it won't matter. The stock cooler sucks anyway.
It's true. Gemini, let's talk about that CPU a little bit more, though. What do you do with an old one? You use it to upgrade a different computer, of course. Now, in this case, it went to max out someone else's computer, taking them from 4 cores to 6, freeing up that one for a higher purpose, yet to be described. So this week, you really need to remember to take out the recycling. It's easy, just set it next to the door so you can take it with you as you head out for the day. And don't just forget it in the backseat of your car this time.
Cancer Moonchild, we're getting you something math related that will make very little sense. Okay, I'm already lost. Computers are binary devices. Okay. So they work in multiples of 2. Okay, I got that. And subsequently, so would RAM as well. So you expect it to start with 2, 4, 8, or even 16 gigs of it. And you'd be wrong. It came with, of all things, 10 gigs. And before you say, well, maybe it's shared with video. No. That was its own separate board. So this week, it's okay for you to feel off kilter. It happens. Just take it easy, take it slow, and center yourself before any big moves.
Again, this is all true.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, you remember how we told you about the Will Wheaton dice curse last week? Well, we're using that again to finish the tale of the CPU swaps. That 4-core CPU finally found its way into my infamous home server, Hexadecimal, aka the Queen of Chaos. She was named that because no matter what server OS was attempted to be loaded onto it, it failed. It took finally trying Ubuntu Desktop to make it work, which made 0 sense because the desktop and server versions are basically identical. So this week, you know what Hex is missing still to this day? A SCSI card. And I do still have in the office over here right next to me at least one iOmega branded one from Adaptech, but who still uses those anyway.
I hated this one yesterday. Virgo, if you're going to talk about the computer naming adventure, it seems only fair that we get around to explaining how Box got its name. Previous computers were named based on computational gadgets from science fiction. So the laptop Icarus had was named TW1K1, or Tweaky, from the old Buck Rogers TV series. Which the smaller netbook was Dr. Theophilus, the round-faced thing Tweaky carried around on his chest. I think there's a typo there, which means the smaller netbook was Dr. Theophilus, the round-faced thing Tweaky carried around on his chest. So this week, go back to 1978 and watch Jason of Star Command. There's one more wiki robot to be found, and he's cute.
Yeah.
You missed a word. You did. You missed a word.
Did I?
Yes.
Where would that be?
Which means the smaller netbook was Dr. Theophilus. You don't have which means you just have just a small typo.
from the old Buck Rogers TV series, which the smaller netbook was Dr. Theopolis.
Whatever. I think the word means should be in there. But that's me.
Quite all right. For the record, by the way, the SCSI card in question, there it is. I still have it. This is the good one. This is the really good one. You know what the problem with this is? Like I said, nobody uses them anymore, which is annoying as all hell. Libra! One thing we know you love is music. So it's almost a given that you'll get information about Box's sound. Normally, it's a given that computers these days have onboard sound and don't need a specific add-in card to handle it. Not like the days of yore. But this machine is weird in many ways, not the least of which is how it makes old man body sounds when there's no sound to be playing. If you listen closely to headphones or speakers, you can almost hear the motherboard talking to the other parts of the system. So this week, turn on closed captions for your YouTube surfing and see how that works for you. And if you want a challenge, change it to a different language.
Scorpio. All right. Okay. All right. We'll let you in on the secret of Box's name. Believe it or not, it comes in 2 flavors. Both are factual, both are accurate, and both can be denied when pressed for the other. The mundane answer is because desktop computers are often referred to by the term box, kind of the same way Cylons and protogems are sometimes called toasters. But the more fun one, and harder to stumble across, is the character from the 1976 movie Logan's Run named Box. It was a cyborg covered in a disco ball mirrors who was tasked with freezing food for a post-apocalyptic Earth. Yay! So this week, there was an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where they encountered a capsule with people cryogenically frozen from the late 20th century. The ship's name was the SS Birdseye. Remember to eat your vegetables.
Again, all true information. Sagittarius, you might like to know a little something about the computer that preceded Box. It was named Frankenputer because it was cobbled together from a lot of spare and old parts. And before you think the name was just for fun, the chassis and original parts were literally picked up on the side of the road that someone was throwing away. It worked well enough until the memory controller ate itself, which made Box a necessity. So this week, you know how there's the old adage that the true treasure is the friends we made along the way? Well, Frankenputer was not a friend, it was not a treasure. Sometimes you just have to replace the riffraff you accumulate when you didn't know what you were doing.
Capricorn, being done with the most boring parts of that computer, it's time to give you something wild to consider. From the front, it almost looks like the Knight Industries 2000. The chassis is glossy black with silver trim and a bright red bar light across the middle. The only thing missing is any motion in it from side to side. Boom, boom, boom. So this week, there's a semi-official universe canon that says Knight Rider exists in the same universe as Battlestar Galactica because of Battlestar Galactica 1980. Don't go there. Don't go there. If you want it to be worse in your head, go watch the movie Megaforce and watch the motorcycles.
Aquarius?
I've seen Battlestar Galactica 1980. Don't go there. Don't.
Aquarius. Instead of giving you boring minutia, we're treating you to the cake. The best damned ice cream cake you could ask for, homemade and not just out of the freezer from Carvel. It'll take a little while to make the ice cream since we're doing vanilla and coffee chocolate, but it'll be worth every drip off your spoon. So this week, if you have the ability to make your own ice cream, do that. Yes, it's still winter, but why not have a little bit of fun, right?
And finally, Pisces. Well, not only is it the computer's birthday, apparently some pony very close to you is sharing a birthday as well. Basically, you. So happy solar orbital natal reset moment to you. The question is, what's funnier, turning 40 years old or refusing to turn 40? And now you understand why Jack Benny's running gag worked for literal decades. Yeah, I can talk tonight. Because everyone's just a little vain for themselves. So this week, cake is wonderful. But how about splurging on excellent quality food for one full day? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and none of them come out of a frozen box? Let's start with a Western omelet and add, get this, extra bacon. Because you can never have enough bacon. Happy birthday, our fellow fish faces, and thanks for being good to each other.
Those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you like what you got, well, you're a tech nerd probably, or you're Pisces, in which case, good on you. Of course, if you'd like something nicer or naughtier for yourself or someone else, all you need to do is ask, and maybe I'll go ahead and do that, because I entertain ideas like that. If you'd like to bribe me in a more substantive way, you can check out the coffee page, coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. I'll have these posted online at the end of the week as always. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, BlueSky. With any luck, the Mimic won't notice that it's been done, in which case everything will work out just fine. Everything will be fine. It'll be fine. Is episode 528 finally on the docket, Your Honor? Do or do not accept the regretful LEFP voters. Now, I may have made a bit of a mistake in writing, but oh well. Such happened today because I was a little bit busy. The question comes up, what is the LEFP, the leopard eating face party? Well, some have noticed that there are a number of people who are putting videos out for themselves with their regrets for having voted how they voted this particular past presidential cycle here in the U.S. And the face-eating leopards have come to roost, if you'll pardon me mixing metaphors just a little bit. And the leopard eating face party is finding out that all the things that they were worried about that they weren't worried about before, they now have to worry about. Things like people that they know and love, who they thought were otherwise upstanding citizens, who still are, who are going through deportation hearings, if they're even lucky enough to get a hearing. So there is a thing that came up in my personal Discord, which effectively came up to the people who are voicing their regrets. Do we behave nicely to them, welcome them in, give them sympathy, and get them steered in the correct direction with a gentle hand? Or, and I believe the correct terminology for the opposite side of this one is, tell them to go fuck themselves. Now, there's plenty of leeway between both of these extremes, and I do believe that we can have an actual worthwhile discussion on which one to use. And I will open the idea with, we don't necessarily set down in stone, if you will, which one we use, because to me it's going to matter on the people that we're going to be dealing with as an individual. So I know that you saw the exchange over there in my personal. So I'm wondering what kind of ideals you had going through when that was voiced.
I've been watching YouTube videos that are specifically about the leopards eating faces. And on the one hand, let the leopards eat. On the other hand, if we let them eat, shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, that is a problem. But what about the voters, the ones who now have buyer's regret, shall we say? What do you think?
They voted.
So, just a blanket GFY?
Pretty much. There's evidence that it might have not been a fair and equitable voting cycle.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and if that's so, then not only do we have to have brand new elections, but we have to have the people who caused that to be forever barred from anywhere in politics. But of course, that's not going to happen because they're the people that are...
And part of the problem with that also is that, to the best of my recollection, in the American Constitution, there is no mechanism for having a do-over election. There's nothing codified for this needing to be done, which presents its own problem, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I understand it, if the elections were, if the vote counts turned out at this point meaning, after the elections have happened, after the certification, after the inauguration, the swearing in, there is no mechanism for calling that to be invalidated. Nothing codified. Again, to the best of my knowledge, and remember, don't take legal advice from this podcast for sure. But it could very easily be argued from each of the states. Oh God, I forget who it is. What office it is that certifies the elections in each of the states.
Electoral College? No, that's not right.
No, that's the methodology. The Secretary of State?
I think so.
Of each of the states. I believe that's who it is. If they were to discover that there was wrongdoing and the election was done improperly, I'm using a lot of code terms over here, and I'm smoothing over a lot of pieces over here because there are a lot of possibilities. I don't know what could conceivably be done, because after Election Day, before Inauguration Day, there is the day when all the states certify that our election is done, our votes have been tallied, and this is who our electoral count votes are going to. Okay, done. Stamped, signed off on. Here we go. I don't believe that there is a mechanism, at least at the federal level, to be able to fix that. Because that's a problem now. And that's something that, if that is the case, we know full well, and if you'll pardon the expression here, we know full well the elephant in the room ain't going to want to look at that. Because there's no way in hell they would set up a good faith mechanism for correcting for such an error. Because literally, until this modern era, this possibility was absolutely, and I can't believe I have to use this term, inconceivable in our political system.
Yeah.
Now, memory serves, over in Canada, there is a system otherwise referred to as the no confidence vote. Yeah.
Oh, the no confidence vote is fun. 1 year, it was down to one independent member of parliament. He had all the power. He was also a cancer sufferer and had flown in order to do his vote, and basically left and died within a month. This is what I remember. I watched it on CPAC or C-SPAN or whatever it was, the Canadian parliamentary channel, and the different parties voted. The Liberal Party was it the Liberal Party? No. Has to have been the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party was voting one way. All the opposition parties voted the other way, but they didn't have enough votes. It was that one independent. And I believe he voted to keep the government in power. So it might have been a Liberal government at the time. That's how much power the individual MPs actually have, especially when they're independent, when they don't have a party that they have to kowtow to. Everybody says that it's Trudeau and the Liberal Party that are running Canada. No, it's more like the Conservatives giving Liberal parties grief and the NDP saying, okay, we're going to support you, but you have to do this. You don't do this, we're going to go with them and you're going to fall. So it's the NDP party that actually has the most actual power. The Liberals are in power, but it's the NDP that have the actual power, because if they throw their votes towards the Conservatives and vote for non-confidence, well, guess what? We're having an election.
Backing up just a second, Stephanie had pointed out, which, by the way, yes, I am still reading you over there, Stephanie, thank you, saying they will not learn until they suffer. And even now they think Dems are evil, the devil incarnate. There are a very large number of people of the leopard-eating face party that are being hurt, but they are rationalizing it away as, well, that's what's necessary. So I'll just wait. It'll be fine. It won't be that bad. Not realizing that this is the best it's going to be, and it's just going to get worse from there. And well, and had also said there is one way, meaning the change in government. There is one way, as Lincoln found out. I will also point out that was a radical single person who was trying to effect change, as opposed to a large voting bloc doing a change. Now, I know, here in the U.S. we've got this image of Second Amendment thing so that the civilians can arm themselves and take up defensiveness against an overreaching federal government with a well-regulated militia. Unfortunately, that's a thing that some have said is more and more likely to have happen as a second American Civil War. And the ones that keep saying it are the ones that also say, well, we'll be good with this government and there won't be any bloodshed so long as the Democrats let us. I'm sorry, effing what? You forgive me for not getting the quote quite exactly right, but I think I've got the quote damn close enough right now. So, yeah.
It's not so much that the Democrats will let them. It's that the Democrats will stand up and say no more. If you think about it, that phrase is actually saying, yeah, we're actually a bunch of cowards.
Yeah, I think it's incumbent on us to take just a couple of seconds to make a nice little call out to those who are of the older variety, specifically the older Democrats of variety who are various versions of Congress critter. Get off your asses or get out of the job, because you're obviously not doing it. I think that's good enough for me right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a number of them who are just, it'll be fine so long as, we'll just follow the rules and we just do that. No, not anymore. Not anymore. The rules have been changed. The rules have been ignored. It is time to go ahead and use the rules as they have been abused, shall we say, perverted, one might also claim them to be. Stretched beyond credibility, others might go ahead and say, but nonetheless, it is time to go ahead and do exactly back to them what was done. Because they set the rules in motion. Stick it to them. And if you don't have the stomach to do it, there are a lot of people who are far and away younger than you are, literally half your age, who would be more than willing to take the seat and do the job. So there you go. Lexa is over there in the chat, and by the way, hi, good to see you over there. Saying, my view on the left, folks, it's tricky. I agree. They may not learn until they suffer, but they may not learn even then. Admittedly, yeah, that is a possibility. However, it'd be best to offer direction to them now before blame is shifted. Agree. I agree, very, very much so. So there's other stuff that's being written, but I wanna tag onto this part because this pretty well lays out where I am very closely. I do not want to use either of the extreme. I don't want to be telling these people, GFY. I also don't want to, they're there. We can help you make sure that everything is okay now. No. I have literally zero interest in using either one of those every time. Because there are going to be some people for whom one of those is the right way to go. There are a vast number of people where, just like with a bell curve, are going to fall somewhere inside of those 2 points. And I will tell you which people are going to be the ones that are going to end up on the extreme, on the GFY side. The ones who are saying, I voted for... I got to pick and choose my words just a little bit here because I don't want to use every F-bomb. I voted for the guy in office, but I didn't think he was going to come and hurt me. And that's what I'm upset about, because now he's hurting me. Those people, the unrepentant ones, the ones who are unsympathetic, the ones who are, well, help me because I'm being hurt now. The Nancy Reagans of the world, shall we say. The people who have voted against the human rights of people in the LGBTQIA plus communities, who have suddenly turned around and supported them after finding out that one of their own close family turns out to fall in those categories. Like their own child, for instance. Those of you are going to be in two different buckets. If you were going to go ahead and keep voting against the community while trying to protect your own, well then, yeah, you'd also be at the extreme end. Some of you have actually learned sympathy in those moments. But the ones who are without sympathy, without empathy, the ones who are just, help me because I'm being hurt now, with no care whatsoever about what's happening to everyone else and to everything else around you, from the bottom of what there is of my heart that's left, go fuck yourselves. You get what you deserve and more. And why do I say and more? Because chances are you're one of those people for whom privilege is just a state of being that you don't even think about, kind of like breathing. You don't even realize that you've got it, but now you're all upset because you can't do it. Those are the ones that I will not cower from my position on. There will be no quarter for people like that. They can go hang themselves by their fingernails for all I care. You didn't learn sympathy and empathy. You didn't learn how to be a nice person. You didn't learn what Fred Rogers taught us. Those are the people that, no. You made your bed, lie in it. And if it happens to be shit covered, because it sounds like it is, oh well. Been nice. Go away. Shoo. And if you're wondering which direction I'd like you to go, I would otherwise point, but that would involve me taking my arm and pointing in a very specific direction, which would be at a roughly 40-degree angle, in front of me somewhere. I'm sorry, was that blatant enough? Did the reference come across for everybody? Thank you. So, I noticed that you're not arguing with me on this point, Io.
No, I'm just out of energy with dealing with the whiners. I voted for him and I didn't think he would do this. And now they're cheering because they're other president, Leon, is saying, hey, $5,000 stimulus bonus for every voting family in America. Yay! You all get money. Um, I don't think that money's ever going to show.
Mm-mm.
No. And if it does show, it's probably taxable. And worse, it's essentially a bribe.
Yep.
I'm at the point that I want to reset my history on YouTube and just have crochet and knitting channels. The Y files, extra history, and a couple other history things. You know, because although I love him, Brian Taylor Cohen, too much now. I love them as well, the Midas Network, Midas Touch Network. Love them. Too much for me now. Because all I'm seeing and hearing is people basically saying, help me, he's hurting me, he wasn't supposed to, and I voted for him.
Yep.
As somebody who was 2 minutes away from being DACA, I have a story for you.
Short.
I have no sympathy. Yes, I have a legal green card now, and it's taken me over 50 years to get it. I should have been registered as an out-of-country birth. I was never registered. When I was about 3 years old in Buffalo, my mother was at the door stopping my grandparents from taking me. She'd actually called them up and said, come take this child. I was that close to being a DACA. In another year and a half, hopefully I'll be able to take my citizenship testing and all that. I'm expecting chaos. I'm expecting to be told, no, you cannot be American. I'm expecting to be told that my birthright, which I would have had if I had been born about 10 years later, is going to be completely denied to me. Yeah, the United States is probably the only country in the world that does not guarantee citizenship to the children of its citizens. And some countries even guarantee it to the grandchildren.
And in some cases, it even wouldn't matter if you were born physically different jurisdiction. There are some European countries that will say, okay, trace your lineage. If you're within 3, I guess, generations, you might still be able to acquire citizenship here as well.
That would be Scotland for me. Maybe.
If such a thing does exist, I do believe. I'm trying to remember how far back. For me, I do believe I would be able to get, yes, both of, okay, my maternal grandmother and my paternal grandmother were both from Italy. I think my paternal grandfather as well. I think. Pretty sure. So, conceivably, pardon the expression, I think I might be able to get from Italy. I think. Then again, part of the family also is from a city that technically shouldn't exist anymore, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Roxy, by the way, hi, do see you over there. Good morning.
Yes, we see you, sweetie. At least Canada isn't like some Asian nations where if you're a child of an American, your life is basically shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
There was a certain TV program that explained all that.
And it's funny you say it that way because I'm remembering back to some of the stories that that Fujin told me, how there were some people who thought that perhaps because of her somewhat Asian overall features, they weren't very pronounced, but there were a couple of them that were, if you knew what to look for, you'd figure it out. Thought that she was perhaps Puerto Rican a couple of times. So, yeah. I'm not saying it's nearly the same thing, but I'm just saying that there are certain ways around not being typified, shall we say.
Yeah.
And basically, Canadians in the U.S. or anywhere else, people will know that you are Canadian, if as opposed to from the U.S., because you know how to speak English.
Yeah. They'll also know that we're Canadian because when they go watch, I'm going to spoil a bit, when they go watch Captain America Brand New World, or Brave New World, or whatever it's called, the White House takes a big hit and I was cheering it on. A really big hit. I leaned over to my honey and I said, all they needed there was somebody from Alpha Flight with a match.
For those that are unaware, Alpha Flight was a bunch of mutant superheroes from Canada. They also included amongst their ranks Sasquatch, Puck, and Wolverine. This has been your Marvel moment.
And Knights. And, no. Not Polaris. But Aurora and
No, yeah,
North Star.
Not Polaris? I thought it was. You know what?
Polaris is Magneto's daughter. Other daughter. Magneto was having lots of fun.
No, apparently.
No, Aurora and North Star were twins and blah, 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 blah. That's going way off topic, but
Yeah,
right now, the Canadians have got a huge victory that the FOTUS was trying to taunt us about losing beforehand, and we won. Hockey.
Yeah, there is that. No, wait a minute. Roxy is saying Wolverine wasn't in Alpha Flight.
He was an honorary member, and he is Canadian. Weapon X is Canadian.
I vaguely remember that Sasquatch, Shaman, Puck, Aurora, North Star. You sure it wasn't Polaris? I want to swear that it was. And Wolverine. I do believe that was the lineup at one point. You know what? Okay. No, in any case,
I used to have the comic.
I'd look it up, but nobody needs to hear me tappity through the microphone, so just figure it out later.
I used to have the comic. It's disappeared in my travels.
I get that. So, as far as these people are concerned, I do believe that there is one category of American where the GFY methodology is the only worthwhile way. As in, this is the way it should be. I will broker no opposition on this one. I will die on that hill. You're more than welcome to go ahead and take your complaints to anywhere else except for me. I think the GFY in this one needs to specifically be leveled at the feet of every member of the Republican Party that has not left it. I honest and truly believe that is the way it should be. at this point. They knew what they were getting into. They called for, after the last inauguration, the previous inauguration, what happened at the Capitol building, claiming that the current occupant of the highest office was responsible for it and should be held accountable to it, and then suddenly, no, maybe not, No. Anyone and everyone that's still part of that political party at this point is an accomplice, and they should be held to the highest standards at this point for it. And if that means they need to be kicked out, they need to be voted out, so be it. And I am going to very clearly state for the record, we here at HCTV do not advocate for any removal of political office other than the legal voting system. I want to make sure that if YouTube decides that they want to go ahead and try to ding me for some kind of speech at this point, that I can properly appeal and let them know the only valid system for removing politicians from office is at the voting booth. We will broker no opposition on this one. Words do not harm people. They can hurt, but they do not harm people when it comes to doing your job that you were elected to do. But we're not going to go ahead and we're not going to do anything physical, and we're going to absolutely condemn anyone that would. I just don't want to get dinged by YouTube's algorithm yet again for, oh, you're advocating for... No, go back 10 seconds and you will find out from the timestamp that you gave me. Go back 10 seconds. You will see where I stated clearly, this is how this is. I don't need this shit.
None of us do.
No, and that's part of the problem. I wish there was a better way of dealing with so much of this stuff. Because we've got the people, like I said, the people who were elected into these offices and the public who put them there. Maybe. Like you were saying, there is some question mark that's going on about some of the voting stuff. I'm unconvinced because I don't have enough factual information to go by. At least not at the moment. But still, what the hell, man? What the hell? I don't know what to make of it. We will, as always, find out eventually. I mean, hell, we found out about all of what happened with... Okay, most of what happened with the Watergate situation. And may I also add, I'm really sick and tired of hearing every scandal, the scare quotes, a scandal, being having the word gate attached to it. Folks, just stop. Just don't do that anymore. Please. Eventually, everything is known. Eventually, all is known. It's just a question of how long it will take. Anything like that.
What drives me the most nuts about them is, oh no, he didn't say that. What he meant was that full-on gaslighting they do.
How very Christian of them.
Mm-hmm.
And before anybody gets on my nerves about it, because in the big Bible, you can have it say in text whatever you want it to say, but oh, no, but you're taking that out of context. Motherfucker, it says exactly what I told you it says. If there is a stranger from out of your country who has come to you, you treat him as your own neighbor, as yourself, and give him food and clothing and shelter. That's what it says in your book. Don't tell me that's out of context. I'm somewhat misquoting it a little bit, and I don't even remember where exactly that is. I don't really care. It's not my book. I don't care. I know some of the pieces. I know full well that the vast majority of it, when it talks about factual things, supposedly, it's wrong. So
Their savior Yeshua saved the sick. He cured them. He did miracles. He did this. He did that. He flipped tables at the churches or temples, whatever.
Because the money changers were just getting fat off of all the money that they were getting, and they were doing it in the name of whatever deity they were in.
Yeah. If he was here right now,
He'd weep.
no, they'd probably throw him in jail.
There is that.
At best.
At best.
And what drives me batty about them is all the AI images that, he did not do that stuff. But Fotis is shown saving children in the middle of floods, having archangels around him, being a savior, being this, being that. He's no savior. He's basically leading everyone to ruin.
And the highly religious, the hyper-religious especially, are the ones where, once upon a time ago, he said, I love the uneducated. Wow. Could you lead the bit a little bit harder for the people that, heard you in the front row?
That was, a 10-minute speech about how the Republican Party were basically idiots.
One of the shortest times he was ever behind a microphone, if memory serves, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was an interview about him possibly running as president back when he was 40? Maybe 30 at the youngest? See, we did reports on him back in high school as part of our social studies and world events things about how horrible of a businessman he was, as well as how utterly despicable of a landlord he was. And I was a kid and I knew better.
Yep. Reminding you, I grew up outside of New York City. I was roughly 45 miles outside of Brooklyn. We knew. All of us in the area, we knew. He was an idiot. He had all these grandiose ideas and all these great programs that he started and all these businesses that he crafted, and a couple years in, all of a sudden, well, look at that. There's nothing left of him. Not even a shell. He bankrupted a casino.
How do you bankrupt? Not just one. Apparently, it was several casinos.
I want people to understand something, because this is beyond a level of stupidity that we collectively could understand correctly. The statistics of gambling are that the house wins more than 50% of the time. It doesn't always have to be, 75-25. It could be 50.1%. So long as the house makes more money than they're giving away, everything's fine. But the statistics are that in a casino, you win far and away more often than Joe Schmo Public sitting at your tables. And you have ways of ensuring exactly that. How? It simply, statistically, mathematically boggles the mind. Any statistician would know full well. No, you can't. If you follow the business model, yeah, you can't do that. Which means a businessman doesn't know how to follow a business model for goddamn printing money. It doesn't get any more clear than that. It absolutely just does not get any more clear than that.
It doesn't. It just doesn't. And then there's the tech bros that are going in and hooking up their own hard drives to the government's hard drives and computers and doing who knows what. Kids that have no security clearance, just out of high school and college. You know, what the hell? More importantly, why didn't the higher ups of those organizations that they've attacked lock down the buildings and say, no, you're not getting in ever?
Except that
because
they get the marshals under threat of arrest to force their way in. Or more so, high velocity rocks, shall we say. Yeah.
They're supposed to be protecting the Constitution from all threats, foreign and domestic. And unfortunately, we've got this giant domestic threat happening, and it's dancing through everything.
Yep. Stephanie's pointed it out. Correct. Young, naive, and obedient. I would also add to that thrill-seeking, as well as, I don't know what the right word for it is exactly. The feeling of wanting to be special and doing something worthwhile so that you've got a story for yourself later that shows how important you are, your self-importance. I don't know what term there would be for that, but you get the idea. People that just want to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately, yep. I'm expecting that those names are going to end up in a police blotter eventually, but again, the hell do I know?
And they're going through everything. I'm worried about the SSDI, the retirement, Social Security.
The VA.
I'm worried. The VA stuff. My wonderful father is, because he's now going to be, actually he is over 70. He's definitely a retired Marine, because I don't think that they would up him at 70 or higher. And, you know, he bitched and moaned about how the VA treated him for years until he actually needed them to help him save his life. And then he changed his tune. But
because of course he did.
Oh, bother. It's just... They're learning the consequences of their actions too late. Those that voted for Harris, or even the independent candidates, could see that the FOTUS was a danger, or that they wanted something better. The ones that voted for FOTUS were voting out of spite against Harris. They were voting out of spite against the Democrats. And all of the stuff that was being thrown at them. Oh, trans people. in the wrong bathrooms. Oh no.
Meanwhile, everyone
Oh,
that's been a problem in someone else's bathroom, it's always men complaining about women's bathrooms. And it's always the creepiest people who are making these accusations. Accusations, mind you, not reality.
I'm going to have to track it down, but within the last couple of days, there was a report of a woman who was being arrested for using the woman's bathroom. And it was male police officers that were arresting her.
And probably the one who made the complaint was also male. Could almost
Probably.
guarantee it.
She I don't know, maybe she looked more masculine than she should have for whoever that person made the complaint. But women do have very masculine features at times.
Yep. Some have more facial hair. Yes, I'm looking at you, all of my cousins over there on Staten Island. And before anybody goes ahead and gives you shit about that, actually, I do still have cousins on Staten Island, and we are Italian, and subsequently, yes, there are a few of us that have got some facial hair that need to be trimmed once in a while if you'd like to be, not made fun of.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. It's that time of life. My estrogen is going down, my testosterone is becoming more prevalent. And I'm growing hair where women generally don't grow hair until the change of life.
Yeah.
And I'm that poor woman having to prove that she was a woman. I just got so angry at the news report, I closed it. I was furious. I just
Yeah. Because
this is actually one of the things that I'm terrified of going into a woman's bathroom, being followed by a man, and the man saying you're not a woman, and doing something physical to me or to one of my sisters, whether they are female at birth or not. It's
it's beyond frustrating. It's demeaning. It's objectifying. And ultimately, it's get your nose out of my business. You want to see what's in my pants? No.
Date me. No, I don't want to date you, actually.
I mean, that's actually a rather valid way of describing that one. You don't know if I'm a woman or a man? Kiss me. Let's see how you feel about it. And then we'll figure it out from there. Then I'll tell you which one I am.
And it's always these so-called alpha males trying to protect their females. And I'm putting quotes around alpha.
Now, the
domineering, thou shalt do as I say before I even say it, males.
Now, let's also make sure that we do agree. There are women who do this as well. However, what I've seen is that these women who have done it have a far higher tendency to also be the quote-unquote highly religious type.
The Karens.
Not, well, see, that's the thing. I was thinking that, but it's not exactly that. It's not, don't get me wrong. I ain't going to be coming to the defense of any Karens whatsoever. And except for the ones who are named Karen because that's what they were named, I'm terribly sorry for that. Please don't live up to the name, or down, shall we say. But the ones who you would otherwise think 50 years ago would have a very large beef hive hairdo and would be throwing racial slurs at that one 9-year-old girl that just wants to go to school being escorted by the National Guard because the President of the United States said, you know what? That young lady with the dark skin, she deserves to have an education too. And you
Those
guys...
women are still alive, and they have grandchildren and great-grandchildren who are finding their names in their history books, which is one of the reasons why those history books are being banned from schools. Because, oh, Clutching Pearls, no, my name can't be associated with that. This, I didn't do it. Yes, you did.
We can find people now in almost live videos because people will take selfie videos, or they'll get themselves... I saw a thing on my personal Discord where somebody got himself drunk off his ass, and he was talking some serious nasty stuff, and video got out because lady was taking video of him because of what he was saying and everything. Got him to say it, and you know what? People figured out who he was. It wasn't hard, considering the hat he was wearing was from the company that he was working for. And oh, by the way, he was drunk underage. He got himself served underage. So he got himself fined for drinking underage in the U.S. Now, I know. Here in the U.S., it's typically 21 years old. I know in a lot of other places it's far lower. Be that as it may, he was underage. He got himself drunk. He got himself figured out who the hell he was, and he lost his job. By the by, this wasn't nearly the first time that he had a run-in with bad publicity and the law. So, bigot's gonna bigot? It's going to be really... You know how the old joke is, how do you know that you're having dinner with a vegan? Or how do you know that someone is an atheist? The answer being that they'll tell you. Yeah, how do you know someone's a bigot?
They'll tell you.
Same answer. And believe them the first time they tell you. So...
I try not to be racist. I really do. So what do? I turn it on its head. If I see somebody being attacked and their skin color is darker than mine, and it's for something that is stupid, I have gotten in the way of the person that's palm colored. I have gotten in the way. I have told them off.
Yep.
There was this one guy who was getting a petition signed for homeless help or something like that. And this white dude started yelling and screaming at him and came up to us. I had to apologize to the black guy that I couldn't sign his petition because I wasn't a citizen. I'm so sorry. And this white dude comes up in full head of steam. The only way I got rid of him was pulling out my taser.
All right.
He was that violent. And the guy with the petition basically said thank you. I was scared for a moment.
Good call. And by the way,
I stayed with him until the guy left.
Good. Stephanie's got a point. I would bet he not only lost his job, talking about the guy I was talking about before, no one else would want to hire him. You know what? There are a number of people for whom, when they've been found out about, they run into some serious problems like that. We've mentioned about it before, but it stands to mention it again. If you do something wrong in this technological day and age, you don't need to wait for somebody with a homemade dark room developing 35 millimeter film and making a print and then circulating it somehow out to who only knows where via a rotating drum fax machine to have the mass market figure out who you are if maybe somebody's lucky enough to see it. With the methodology today, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You do something damn stupid and your image gets uploaded somewhere with an explanation of what you did that was stupid. 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If that, in some cases. So I'm not saying this from the standpoint of don't do anything stupid. We're all going to do something stupid. But don't do something colossally brain-headed. I'm not using the right terminology. I'm starting to feel the tired. Y'all know what I mean.
Blockheaded.
Blockheaded works. Smooth-brained.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me right about now. I'm starting to smooth out.
A lot of the racists that raised us, that raised the generations before us, as well as our generation, and even generations after us, they didn't have things like TikTok and YouTube and cell phone cameras catching them.
Yeah.
So they would spout off anything that they wanted to. And now people not only are getting caught with what they've been saying, they're getting punished for it.
And rightly so.
Most of the stuff that Otis has been saying, if he was in Canada and saying it, he'd probably be up on charges. The muskrat, that one gesture that he did twice that I know of, would have gotten him charges.
Steve Bannon apparently has also done it at least once.
Yep.
And
children in school have been doing it, and
yeah, because it, again, we've talked about this before, because it's becoming quote unquote normalized. Because if the person in the highest political position in this country can do it, and it's okay for him to do it, why shouldn't it be okay for me to do it too?
And everybody forgets the one thing that is the very basis, the reason why the United States was formed. We'll have no king.
That's one of them. That is arguably the biggest one.
Washington was offered the job, and he turned it down. I'm pretty sure other founding fathers were offered the job, and they turned it down. And what does Fotis say this last 2 days?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to have to find that Schoolhouse Rock song.
The name of it is very specifically No More Kings.
Perfect.
I know exactly which one it is. I know exactly what you're referring to.
Then you put it in, because
just type it in the show notes section so I know what to go looking for. And Lex has also pointed out, in Germany, that'd be a big no-no too. Memory serves, in Germany, if you were to do that, you would be arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be brought up on, I forget what charges they are, but that is big-time criminal. You do not do that, period.
I've been telling people, if you see somebody doing that salute, do the Red Dwarf salute right back at them. That's where you take your hand out at a lower degree and flick the wrist around a bunch of times and then up to the head as a salute.
Now, is it the British salute? So it's palm forward, if I remember right?
I don't think it matters.
That's true. Because you could always do
main
the,
thing is
the
that
Italian salute instead.
the main thing is that wrist flick. Because you can do that for 2, 3, 4, 10 minutes, an hour, just to drive them nuts.
Just be careful that you don't dislocate your wrist in the process.
Yeah.
Please, just...
It's a good exercise, too. For limbering up your wrist.
There is one YouTuber, gamer, that I know of. Wade Barnes. Some folks would know him as Lord Minion 777. He's in part and parcel with Markiplier. They were playing Uno one time, and he jazz-handed so hard he dislocated his wrist. So please, people, just don't do that. It hurts. Just please don't do that.
Hell, I'm thinking about finding old copies of The Desert Peach and blowing them up. The Desert Peach was drawn and written by Donna Barr, and it's about the gay German during WW2 in Africa. I had a couple of the issues.
Fair enough. Stephanie's also said it is illegal to have anything related to that old party in Germany. They take that very seriously. If any of us would know better, Stephanie would, being that, England's kind of a little bit closer to it, and there's a little bit of a history there between England and Germany. Just gonna throw that one out there. There's a auditory joke that I'm not going to make right about now, but let's just go ahead and just say it.
Oh yeah, Mouse is also a good comic.
What's that now?
It's banned. Mouse. MAUS.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's also a good comic. I've had a copy in my hands, as well as I think the second and third volume, if there is a third volume. At least the first 2 volumes in my hands from the local library. I never actually got around to read them. I just wanted to hold them in my hands and say, I have a banned book. I have a banned book.
I had one copy come through the shop one time last year. So kind of cool to see.
Catch it if you can.
We're getting close to when I would normally start looking to wrap things up. I'm noticing my head getting a little bit not where I want it to be. Let's save it to say. So
I'm similar. I'm basically, like I said, I want to turn off my YouTube history, reset it, and put knitting and crocheting patterns and tutorials and groups and stuff, just because everything I'm seeing puts my anxiety level from me to and that's not good.
Yeah.
That's burning me out as well.
Yeah, you might want to consider making a personal YouTube account and keeping a second one specifically for like this show, so that this one can get corrupted however they'd like to, so that you're well, actually, no, wait. You don't have that problem the same way that I do. Sorry, I keep forgetting that we're using Discord instead of Google Hangouts or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about corrupting the YouTube algorithm for you that way. That doesn't really much matter. Never mind. See, remember what I said about brain smoothing and too many things making too many connections the wrong way? I don't like moments like this.
Hubs actually said, why am I getting crochet knitting patterns on my YouTube? Because I was watching YouTube on the big TV and I was crocheting knitting patterns, and I guess it went through yours instead of mine.
Could be. Could also just be the IP address.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, that happens too.
Self-care is probably one of the things that people have to do. And I'm not talking about showering, brushing teeth, stuff like that. I'm talking about mental self-care. turn off the TV, turn off the news, turn off YouTube, all this parts that you don't want to see, turn off TikTok, turn off Dead Bird, turn off anything that is affecting your mental health in a negative fashion, because we will know if the feces has hit the circular impeller at full force. Right now it's just doing little spoots.
I mean, that's a wonderful way of describing it, but it's so clunky. The defecation hits the ventilation. It's far classier sounding.
I prefer the circular impeller because it can be a plane. No matter what, we're screwed.
Fair enough.
But
All right.
turn off the stuff that is affecting your mental health and take care of yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to have the ability to deal with the LEFP, the Leopard Party, because they are right now are basically draining everybody. They're draining everyone. It's me. I've lost my da 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 da. I don't have my SNAP benefits. I can't da 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 da. I've lost it. You voted for it. We warned you. This happened. So I need to go reset my YouTube algorithm.
Yep. That's fair enough. For me to close out what I've got, yeah, mental health is a hard thing to deal with right now. I mean, there's no two ways about that. So, yeah, definitely do what it is that's necessary for yourselves to kind of help things along. What I want to end off with is I'm not unsympathetic to these people that didn't know. Because as much as we don't want to admit it, we do have to, that they were duped by people whose jobs it is to dupe them. When a con artist gets a mark, you know, we don't blame the con artist. We don't blame the victim, we blame the con artist. It's not the same thing, admittedly. But there is a percentage of blame that has to go back to the con artist themselves. And the biggest problem that we have to remember about this, and we've said it before, the con artist in this particular situation is the entire Republican Party, its platform, and its methodology. The Christian white nationalist party, who for the last 50 plus years has been slowly and steadily winning little bits and pieces and nibbling away at personal liberties and education, most of all. That's the problem. It's not an easy fix. It's not a quick fix. But God damn it, it will be the only surviving fix that will ensure that this shit never happens again. Told you at the beginning, we got 1,400 and change days to get through. We'll do it. And then the real work begins. We'll make it. It's a marathon, but God damn it, we'll make it. And if we have to tell people to get the fuck out of our lives because of who they are and how unrepentant they are, oh well. They made their choices. We'll have to make ours. Thank you for making us one of those things that helps your mental health and helps to give you something to spur you on for the time that we've got ahead. So thank you for being with us for that. I'll forego my usual closing spiel beyond that then. Right there. Brigid, glad you were able to join us briefly. You have yourself a good weekend. Please take care of yourself this week, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you again real soon. Io, thank you. As always, do your best to stay healthy, and I hope things are still progressing well with the air quality and what's been teasing it poorly.
The fires are out, as far as I know. It's just the normal bad air quality of SoCal with several million people living here and at least one car per person. Adult person, that is. Never mind the trucks and the trains and the buses.
No, fair enough. Good luck on that. Over there in the chat, thank you guys for being part of it. Stephanie, Lexa, Roxanne, appreciate it, guys. Thank you for helping along with all this. I think I know who, after talking with Brigid, part of this week, I think I know who she would very much like to tell them to just go fuck yourself. Family members who think they've known how to make things work. The ones who decided everything's fine and will gaslight the rest of the family with their voting record, with how everything is happening in the political climate, and how other people can go through pain, but we're going to be perfectly fine, so there's nothing wrong with it all.
The black sheep of the family is usually the truth sayer. The one that is brave enough to say, this shit happened.
For all y'all, on Brigid's behalf, y'all can go fuck yourselves.
Double fuck yourselves.
So with that, we call it a night. So if you'd like to be in touch with us, best way is probably through the Discord server. If you need to just have a voice, need somebody to listen to you, or just want to be able to chat us up and just say, hey, more than happy to help you out. Can't promise when we'll get to you because we've all got jobs and lives and whatnot, but we'll do our best. Just do an add everyone. We'll pop over eventually. We'll help you as best we can. So, until the next time we're together, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady. It's going to be 20 years. And I still don't know how to feel about that. Except that I feel bad. Well, but I'm still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone. As always, good night.